How would I describe my personality? Well, describe my personality. How would I describe my personality? Well, I think I have one, and that's good. I'm not exactly sure how I would describe it. I know that I'm a pretty outgoing guy. How would I describe my personality? Well, I have one, I think. That's good. I would have to say that I can generally walk into a group of strangers and walk out with at least one friend. I usually am able to inspire people, even when I don't know it. I tend to not shy away from challenges. I enjoy the wonder of life. I enjoy being able to figure stuff out. I love challenges. I don't... How would I describe my personality? Well, I'm pretty sure I have one, so that's a good start. I would have to say that I'm creative. I love to engage a challenge. I hate to shrink from anything. How would I describe my personality? Well, I think I have one, and that's a good start. I would have to say that how would I describe my personality? Well, I think I have one, and that's a really good start. How would I describe my personality? Well, I think I have one. That's a good start. Friends say that I'm funny, that I'm inspiring. I don't know exactly what either one of those mean, but I tend to make people laugh and make them run off and do crazy things. So, I guess that could be good. I tend to enjoy challenges. I tend to love to look at life from a slightly different angle. I tend to really enjoy seeing people succeed. How would I describe my personality? Well, I'm pretty sure I have one, and I guess that's a good start. My friends say that I'm funny and that I'm inspiring. I don't know exactly what that means, but I tend to make people laugh a lot, and then they run off and do things that are pretty wild, exciting, and challenging for them. I also like to be challenged. I like to keep myself... How would I describe my personality? Well, I think I have one. That's a good start. My friends describe me as being funny and inspiring. I don't know exactly what that means, but I tend to be around a lot of people when they're laughing, and often they run off and do pretty interesting things. How would I describe my personality? Well, I think I have one, and that's a good start. People that know me describe me as being funny and inspiring. I don't know exactly what that means, but I do know that when people are around me, they tend to laugh a lot, and then they run off and do things they thought they could never do. I enjoy challenges. I love to be creative. I love to look at things in a way that people don't ordinarily look at things. I love to be creative. I love to look at things in ways that people don't ordinarily look at things. I love challenges. I think when I see something difficult, I don't look at it as hard work. I look at it as a cool puzzle. I enjoy being able to do things that ordinary people just wouldn't even consider doing. I love seeing the big picture. I love being able to imagine a world that could be more exciting or more interesting, and then making that world happen. And I think my toughest critics would say that I'm not very detail-oriented. I love to see the big picture. I love to imagine a world that could be more exciting, more interesting, and then making it happen. And I usually do. I think my toughest critics would say that I'm not very detail-oriented. I don't like to count beans, so to speak. I don't like the tiny minutiae of day-to-day operations. I really love to be out there doing cool new stuff all the time, which is great, except sometimes you really got to get down and count the beans. I don't know why I can't remember people's names. I just have a really hard time with it. I can remember every detail about their lives. I can remember what their kids do for a living. I can remember what they did when they were 12 if they told me. But I just can't seem to memorize their name. I don't know why I have such difficulty with that, but I am working on it. Am I outgoing? Yeah, I think I am. I can walk... I'm one of those people that can walk into a room of strangers and make at least, 10, 15 friends by the time I leave. And good friends, people I can call anytime. It's an amazing, amazing gift. And I'm so grateful to have it. Have I ever traveled outside the U.S.? Well, as a matter of fact, I did. A few times. I've been to Puerto Rico, I've been to the Caribbean. I had this great job where I would flow down to Bermuda and had a job delivering a boat back to the U.S. What a terrific experience. It was 4 days at sea. Have I ever traveled outside? Have I ever traveled outside the U.S.? Yeah, I have. I've done a lot of sailing in the Caribbean. I've been to the British Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, Curacao, Bermuda. Have I ever traveled outside of the U.S.? Yeah, I have. I've done a lot of sailing in the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, the British Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, Curacao. I had a sailing job actually from Bermuda back to New York. It was the Newport Bermuda race, and it was my job to fly down there and pick up the boat and bring it home. But the problem is it was one of the slowest races they had had in years. So when we got down there was no boat to bring home. And we were literally stranded in Bermuda. And that would have seemed okay, right? Except there were no hotel rooms. They were all reserved by the people who were due to be on the island from the race. So the island was empty, except we didn't have a place to stay. One time I had this job delivering a boat from the Newport Bermuda race. So the boats sail from Newport and they go to Bermuda, and then guys like me would captain the boat back home, in this case back to New York. And the problem was that I flew down to Bermuda in time to pick up the boat, but it was the slowest race they'd had in years. There just wasn't a lot of wind. So I got there and the boat wasn't there. In fact, nobody was there, except I didn't have any place to stay, because all the hotel rooms were reserved by the people who were supposed to be there from the boats. So I literally didn't have a room. I ended up staying in a condemned hotel. This guy came up to me and said, "Hey buddy, want a room?" So I stayed in this beautiful hotel that had been condemned. I don't know why it was condemned, but it was the only place I had to stay. And it was unbelievable. It was really cool. And then again, it was kind of like The Shining, where you were in this empty hotel with an empty nightclub. It was a little bit eerie, but really cool. I even had this job once. Where I was supposed to deliver a boat from the Newport Bermuda race. I was supposed to bring the boat from the end of the race in Newport. I even had this really cool job once where I was to deliver a boat from the Newport Bermuda race. So it was my job to take the boat from the end of the race, which was Bermuda, back home, in this case, New York. Except when I got there, there was no boat. It turned out it was one of the slowest races in years. So I fly down, and there's no boat to take back. So I'm literally stranded on the island of Bermuda. Now that doesn't sound so bad, and it really wasn't, except that I had one problem. I didn't have any place to stay. I mean, the hotels were mostly empty, but all the rooms were reserved by the people who were coming down for the race. So I was sitting on this island full of empty hotel rooms and no place to stay. Finally, this guy came up to me and said, "Hey buddy, you want to stay in a hotel that's, a little condemned?" A little condemned? I didn't know what that meant, but I did know that it meant I'd get a room for the night. And I said, "Sure." So I go to this hotel. It was on Hamilton Harbor. I mean, literally on the harbor. I have no idea why they condemned this hotel, but it was beautiful and empty. It was really cool and a little bit like The Shining. It was a little eerie, this empty hotel right on the harbor. But all in all, a couple of days later, the boat came. I got on the boat, and it was 4 days at sea, and we got back to New York. No problems, no incidents.